Alright, let's open the right page. Goblin Shark. Deep beneath the Pacific, Indian, and Atlantic Oceans, sometimes more than 4,000 feet down, lives an animal that looks like it was sketched by someone who's never actually seen a shark before. Meet the Goblin Shark, Mitsukurna austoni. Everything about it feels a bit off at first glance. The body is soft, almost flabby, and colored a striking pink, not the sleek gray we usually expect from sharks. That color actually comes from the blood vessels visible just beneath its thin, translucent skin. But the real shock is the snout. It's long, flattened, and blade-like, covered in specialized pores called ampullae of Lorenzini. These organs detect the tiniest electric fields given off by prey in total darkness. Then, there's the jaw. Unlike almost every other shark, the goblin shark's jaws are protrusible, meaning they can be thrust forward almost like a grabber claw in an arcade machine. When fully extended, the jaws shoot out to nearly the length of the snout itself, snapping shut on squid, fish, and crustaceans with needle-like teeth. The mechanism is powered by specialized ligaments and muscles that act like a slingshot. In slow-motion footage captured by deep-sea submersibles, this entire movement happens in less than a tenth of a second. Goblin sharks grow to at least 12 to 13 feet, and possibly even larger. Because most specimens are caught dead in deep-sea fishing nets, their exact maximum size is still a mystery. They are rarely ever filmed alive. One of the only living individuals ever recorded in its natural habitat was in 2008 off Japan, and another brief encounter happened in the Gulf of Mexico in 2014. Because they live in the midnight zone where sunlight never reaches, they move slowly to conserve energy, drifting like ghosts until something edible comes within range. Next time someone says an animal looks photoshopped, remember, the goblin shark has been around for over 125 million years. Basically unchanged since the age of dinosaurs, while we've only known about it since 1898. Nature didn't need CGI. It had the goblin shark the whole time. Axolotl. Meet the axolotl. Ambystoma mexicanum. Honestly, it looks a bit like someone hit pause on evolution halfway through and just walked away. It has this wide, permanent grin like a cartoon character, external gills that flutter like pink feathers, and a long fin stretching all the way to the tip of its tail. Interestingly, adults keep the exact same body plan they had as babies. While most salamanders eventually lose their gills, develop lungs, and leave the water as they mature, the axolotl simply refuses. It stays aquatic its entire life, breathing mainly through those feathery gills and its skin, with simple lungs kept only as a backup. This forever young state is known as neoteny. It reaches adulthood without ever actually undergoing metamorphosis. But the truly mind-blowing part is what it can regrow. Lose a limb, and within weeks, a perfect new one forms. Bones, muscles, nerves, blood vessels, and skin, everything. Even if its spinal cord is damaged, the axolotl can regenerate nerve tissue, restoring its movement and coordination perfectly. If you destroy up to half its heart, the organ completely rebuilds itself in roughly 2 months. It can even regenerate parts of its own brain. Scientists have spent decades searching for a limit to this ability, and so far they haven't found one. Today, axolotls are found in only one place on Earth, the ancient lake system of Xochimilco near Mexico City. They were once abundant, but now they're critically endangered in the wild due to pollution, invasive species, and urban growth. In laboratories around the world, though, they're one of the most studied animals alive. The hope is that if we can understand how they regenerate so perfectly, we might one day regrow human tissues the same way. So, this little creature that looks like a Pokémon someone forgot to evolve is quietly teaching us how to heal injuries we once thought were permanent. Star-nosed mole. Take a look at the star-nosed mole, or as scientists call it, Condylura cristata. Looking at its face for the first time usually makes your brain short-circuit for a second. You've got 22 pink fleshy tentacles writhing around its snout, looking like something from a deep-sea documentary that accidentally crawled onto land. Each of those tentacles is covered in more than 25,000 microscopic sensors called Eimer's organs, basically tiny domes packed with nerve endings. In total, that little star contains over 100,000 nerve fibers. To put that in perspective, your entire human fingertip only has about 2,000. That makes this star more than just the most sensitive touch organ in any mammal. It's actually, gram for gram, one of the most information-dense patches of tissue on the planet. These moles live in the wetlands of eastern North America, digging tunnels just below the surface of the soggy soil. They never really see the world, though. Their eyes are just tiny pinpricks permanently sealed under their fur. Instead, it hunts by rapidly tapping that star against the ground up to 12 times a second, building a tactile map of its surroundings faster than you can blink. When it finds prey like insect larvae, worms, or small crustaceans, it decides whether to eat it in just 8 milliseconds. That's officially the fastest eating reflex ever measured in any mammal. And it can do all of this underwater too. That star works just as well when it's submerged. The mole actually blows air bubbles onto objects and inhales them again to smell underwater. A behavior almost no other mammal can pull off. All of this comes from an animal the size of a hamster that most people have never even heard of. The star-nosed mole doesn't look real because it evolved a solution so extreme it almost feels like cheating. But every tentacle, every nerve ending, and every lightning-fast decision is 100% biology. No special effects required. Nature didn't just make a mole with a weird nose. It built the fastest touch foraging brain on Earth, and then it hid it under the mud. Proboscis Monkey. Imagine waking up with a face like this. Meet the Proboscis Monkey, or Nassalis larvatus for the science crowd. Folks in Borneo actually call it Orang Belanda, or Dutchman, because they joked that the big nose looked like the early Dutch colonizers. In adult males, that fleshy nose can hit 10 centimeters, dangling past the mouth like a deflated balloon. But it's not just an odd look. That nose is actually a built-in megaphone. When a male yells, air vibrates through his nasal cavities, turning a simple honk into a deep, booming warning that echoes for miles through the forest. It's a simple rule. A bigger nose means a louder voice and a higher social status. While the females and kids have small, upturned noses, only the dominant males get the full, cartoonish version. Honestly, the whole animal looks like an exaggeration. Before we reveal why they always look 9 months pregnant, hit subscribe so you never miss nature's next drunk design mistake. Beyond that face, you've got a pot-bellied body, red fur, and webbed feet for swimming. They're actually world-class swimmers, diving underwater just to dodge predators. Even their diet is weird. They eat tough, toxic leaves that other monkeys won't touch. To handle the poison, they've got a massive chambered stomach full of bacteria. It's basically a living fermentation tank. And that's exactly why they always look 9 months pregnant. They live only on Borneo, but their population is crashing, with fewer than 7,000 left. Their mangroves are being cleared for palm oil at a terrifying speed. It's a sad irony. The animal that looks like it was designed after a long night out is now one of the most endangered primates on Earth. The louder the nose, the closer they get to extinction. Nature gave it a face no one can forget, and we're letting its home disappear. Pink Fairy Armadillo. Ever wonder if a child's drawing could actually come to life? Meet the pink fairy armadillo, known scientifically as Chlamyphorus truncatus. This is the smallest armadillo on the planet, barely longer than your hand and weighing less than a tennis ball. Its body is wrapped in delicate pink armor made of flexible plates attached only along its spine. If that shell gets damaged, it can actually bleed, which is what gives the animal its famous rosy glow. Underneath, a coat of silky white fur keeps it warm during freezing desert nights in central Argentina. The shell doesn't wrap around, it just stops at a flat, upright edge, which is why the species is named truncatus, meaning cut short. That flat plate basically acts like a trowel. When it wants to vanish, it digs straight down in seconds, using massive front claws to kick up sand until the ground simply closes over it like a trapdoor. It spends nearly its entire life underground, swimming through sandy soil like it's moving through water. It rarely surfaces except on humid nights after it rains, when it pops out to hunt for ants and snails. Honestly, nobody knows how many are left. It lives only in one narrow slice of Argentina, and sightings are so rare that even most local biologists have never seen one alive. The pink fairy armadillo is incredibly fragile, often dying from stress just hours after being handled by humans. So the creature that looks like a living plush toy, soft, pink, and impossibly delicate, is also one of the most elusive mammals on Earth. Nature designed something that feels like pure fantasy and buried it where almost no one will ever see it. Shoebill. Ever feel like you're looking at a glitch in the Matrix? Meet the shoebill, or Balaniceps rex to the scientists. It's a 5-foot-tall stork that looks like it was modeled in clay by someone who'd only ever heard rumors of what a bird looks like. The beak alone is the size of a human head, thick, pale, and hooked at the tip like a heavy wooden clog. At 24 centimeters long, it's the third largest beak on the planet, and those edges are razor sharp, designed to decapitate a lungfish in a single snap. Shoebills will stand dead still for hours in the papyrus swamps of East Africa, their gray-blue feathers blending right into the reeds. They don't wait around like herons, they just wait. When a fish finally drifts into range, the bird literally collapses forward in slow motion before slamming its entire body weight downward. That beak hits the water like a guillotine. The prey doesn't really get crushed. It just sort of disappears. These birds are almost completely silent. The only sound you'll ever hear is this hollow machine gun clatter when they greet each other. Check this out. It sounds like wooden blocks knocking together in a massive empty cathedral. Even their eyes break the rules. Those pale yellow irises stare straight forward, giving them binocular vision more like an owl than a stork. When a shoebill fixes that stare on you, it won't blink for minutes. People who've stood close to one describe the same feeling, like something ancient is deciding if you count as prey. There are only about 5,000 of them left, scattered across remote wetlands that are slowly drying up. So, the bird that looks like a badly rendered dinosaur mod in a video game is very real, and it's disappearing faster than we can count. The shoebill never really needed camouflage. It just needed us to look away long enough for it to vanish.